Welcome back to the prediction side of LMP Talks Wrestling. This Sunday, WWE has the gold on the line at their Clash of Champions pay-per-view. They're calling it Gold Rush this year for some odd reason, but that doesn't take away from the excitement that all the belts will be defended. As of Thursday afternoon, there are currently 9 matches on the card. James and I will be spending the next 40 minutes or so predicting what we think will happen at the old Gold Rush. So without further ado, welcome back to the podcast, James. We missed you last week. How's everything going today?
I missed it too, Cody. Everything is very busy right now. We're all back at work. I don't know if anybody knows, but I am a teacher, and hence I couldn't do last week, unfortunately. Stuff had got in the way. I am here this week, but I have already said to Cody before we started recording, I am shattered. And Cody said, I don't know what shattered is. For all you American listeners, all you Canadian listeners, and all of those around the world, I'm just very tired. So apologies if I'm more rambly than normal, but there is a valid excuse. I have been teaching 30 children all day and repeating myself constantly. So I'd like a little bit of sympathy, please.
30 kids. Oh yeah, you have tons from me, my man. Tons from me. Working with that many kids on a daily basis. I have my foot in the human resources field a little bit, and there's been days where I'm like, oh my God, kill me. So I get it. It's like your soul is shattered and you're tired and you can't do no more.
Yeah, that's basically how I'm feeling. But there's matches that need previewing. The WWE show continues to roll on, and we've got more of it this weekend. So off we go. It's going to be a show.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be something. So I mean, we're gonna start off with the pre-show and work our way up. I have the matches in front of me, and the first thing I want to talk about with the Clash of Champions predictions is for the weirdest thing is Asuka is going to be on the pre-show defending her Raw Women's Championship. Now that blew my mind. Like, yes, every single championship is being defended at Clash of Champions. That's great. I love that concept. I've always loved that concept, whether it be Night of Champions, Clash of Champions, whatever they're calling it this year. But to have Asuka, of all people, on the pre-show that WWE has taught us over and over and over not to care about is very strange. What do you think about that?
Their decision to put Asuka in the pre-show, as you say, it makes no sense. She's one of the biggest stars that they have. She's been one of the standouts for the past 6 months. But that's possibly because they've booked themselves into having Zelina Vega challenge for this match, for this championship, and they don't have confidence in the match quality, even though Asuka's there. Yes, absolutely mind boggles with this, because they had a perfect challenger in Mickie James and then seemed to blow that off very quickly. I don't know if that's because Mickie James is 41 and doesn't hit the key demographics. I don't know. But yes, that's very, very bamboozling. Asuka is one of your biggest stars. You've got a match later on the card that I'm looking at that you could easily put on the pre-show. Easily.
Yep. I mean, no offense to the Street Profits, but with how many times we've seen Angel Garza and Andrade go back and forth, I think that should have been on the pre-show.
Cody, you must be a mind reader or something, because how did you know that was the match I was referring to? That's spooky and freaky. I don't know how you managed to get to that at all.
Well, yeah, it's the same match over and over and over again. I mean, geez, pay-per-view quality. I mean, I get the Street Profits are excellent. Andrade, excellent. I mean, don't forget he's a former NXT champion. And Angel Garza had that barn burner of a match with who was it? Lio Rush in NXT there quite a few months back.
Oh, all 4 of them are very capable of a fantastic match, and they are all brilliant. However, we've seen this. I don't know how many times. I've lost count. I reckon it's at least 5. At least 5 times in the past 2 months. So it's possibly more than that. I don't know how they can top it, but there we go. For some reason, we put Asuka on the pre-show. That tends to say to me that Asuka is winning this, no problem. Yeah, and Zelina Vega's random singles push that has come from nowhere um, ends there. I really don't understand this at all. Um, so yeah, ask her for me winning that. That's a nice easy start, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm definitely choosing Asuka too. When Mickie James first got into the title picture in that feud with Asuka there a few weeks ago, I was like, okay, all right, Mickie James, Asuka, they went at each other in NXT, put on a few good matches. I look forward to this. They had a good match on Raw. I figured though, over the next 3 weeks when that first started, we would get some sort of feud going between the two. Why is Mickie James going after the title? Of course. She wants to be a champion, but let's spice it up. Let's make it interesting. We need a face or a heel, or maybe they didn't want to turn Mickie James heel because she certainly was the face going against Asuka. So maybe they needed a heel character. But again, Mickie James can pull off a heel just fine. The only other thing I can think of is why they would put the Raw Women's Championship with Asuka on the pre-show is maybe they're trying to get viewers. Like if they show people, hey, this great match is going to be on our pre-show. You should probably, get the pay-per-view or get the network, whatever they're selling now. But yeah, I mean, it seems like an easy one. I mean, if Zelina Vega did win on the pre-show, I mean, she can wrestle. She can totally wrestle. And I hope in the future that she is a future champion. But right here and right now, with the very minimal build that there's been, Asuka all the way.
Yeah, she's had one match at a trinket of a match basically against Mickie James to try and make this match seem more relevant, and yeah, WWE booking. There we go.
All right, before we get to the Raw Tag Team Championships, let's do the SmackDown Tag Team Champions first, with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura versus the Lucha House Party, which is another match that blows my mind, which totally could have been on the pre-show, because again, how many times have we seen Lucha House Party with Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura? And I could be wrong, but I was pretty certain that the Lucha House Party was starting to break up. I thought they were getting arguing a lot, with Kalisto trying to be in charge and Grand Metalik, and I figured there was something going on there, but I guess there isn't. And the strangest thing is here is, well, both tag team championship matches really are in an odd spot, because now if Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura successfully retain against the Lucha House Party, that's another wasted 3 weeks. I don't even know why Lucha House Party's there. And the reason why I talk about both championships is we saw Cesaro and Shinsuke come on to Raw, challenge the Street Profits. They mixed up their words in the ring, and a lot of people thought that they were going to be having a title versus title, which would have been amazing. I think they should unify the tag team titles, just like they have the women's titles, and go back and forth between brands. But now we have Andrade and Angel Garza and the Lucha House Party becoming the new number one contenders, when they've already lost so many times. So I just don't understand why they just didn't stick to that, and why even the Street Profits and Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura went back and forth between Raw and SmackDown those last couple of weeks, because nothing came from it. Literally nothing came from it. It was just a ratings boost, and I can't stand when people do that. Oh, we'll just see, we'll just create this random thing out of nowhere and hope for a ratings boost, but then that loses you ratings because people tune in to want to know where this is going. But all of that gibberish aside, I do think Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura will retain here. What do you think?
I think both these tag team matches mirror each other perfectly. You've got the challengers that seem to be on the verge of breaking up. So Lucha House Party, Andrade and Angel Garza, I mean, they've lost their manager, so their winning streak that they've been on is just going to end. It's just a disaster for them that their manager, their master strategic brain has left this group, because the momentum that they'll lose is just unbearable. But Lucha House Party is the same. Kalisto and Grand Metalik seem to be arguing. We seem to be, for some reason, splitting them up, even though the tag division is in trouble. I honestly was under the impression that the unification match was going to happen. And it's the best thing that would happen to that division. Unify the titles, have them floating because there's no difference between SmackDown and Raw, really. They're just on different networks, it seems, but stars move around from both. I do like the Champions Lounge that Cesaro and Shinsuke have created. That is fun. That is something that looks like it's got potential, and I'm quite invested in seeing that a bit more.
I agree.
So yeah, there's potential here. It's just, again, it's been muddled by the booking, and it's Cesaro and Shinsuke. They're two great wrestlers. They're a great team together. Hopefully they come up with a name for themselves as well, because I really enjoyed Cesaro and Sheamus being the Bar. That was a great team, and I hope they come up with a good name for them. But who knows? Their naming in this company this week has shown that it's possibly not the best imaginative names that you can come up with. So yeah, Cesaro and Shinsuke for me. It'll be a good match. It'll be fun. It'll be good to watch. It'll probably be about 6 minutes that we'll enjoy, but we won't remember it. No.
I think I'm going to start calling them Nakasaro.
Nakasaro. I like that. That actually is a good. I like that. Nakasaro.
Yeah. It's good. But who knows how long we'll be together, though. All right, well, moving on to the Raw Tag Team Championship. We had the Street Profits, Andrade, Angel Garza, like we already spoke about the feud. The only thing that really confused me about this even happening to begin with again is the fact that we had a triple threat. Now, again, we already know, we're wrestling fans. Everything's already predetermined, but I like when they do have 2, 3, 4 teams in the ring and they have to earn a shot. But in this case scenario, we had Dominic and Humberto Carrillo teaming up as a tag team to become number one contender, and not one of them have any pretty much recent wins. I think Dominic got a win against Buddy Murphy, but he's failed against Seth Rollins on multiple times in this whole Rey Mysterio thing that's been going on. So I'm like, in what universe do you even have a potential to be in a triple threat number one contender match? Where does that even go? Where does that even be part of? Then we have Andrade and Angel Garza, who I'm pretty sure have broken up twice on screen. I'm pretty sure that was the message that was coming through the screen, and most of everybody else too. And then we had Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy, who we saw the week prior. We had Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. I guess maybe not breaking up, but Seth Rollins was very scary. He was putting him in his place and hurting him. Seth Rollins is that crazy kind of cult leader, which is fine. But a week right after that happens and suddenly they're in the tag team scenario, I'm like, there's nothing here. And there's literally no tag teams. I mean, I know the Viking Raiders are out right now on injuries. And I know AOP has been released. And I know the Usos over on SmackDown. There's only one of them right now because they're injured. And he's Jey Uso's going towards the title, which is pretty damn cool. And we will definitely get to that. But having that number one contendership match, I looked at it and I was like, well, none of these teams should actually be in this number one contender spot at all. But who is there? Who's left? Really? And I figure the only secure team there, and none of them really are a secure team. We have Dominic and Humberto, Seth Rollins and Murphy, Andrade and Angel Garza. There's nobody who's an actual team. So, we have the Usos, the Street Profits, the Viking Raiders, AOP when they were there. We had the Iconics together when they were together. So, I mean, the Hurt Business in itself could definitely be a potential tag team holders. You could have Shelton Benjamin and, oh my goodness, Cedric Alexander. They could team up. They could have Bobby Lashley and MVP team up. They're the Hurt Business. They're a now established stable. We need more stables to be able to say, hey, I want to go up against these tag team champions. But in this case scenario, this is a sticky situation because, again, we've seen Angel Garza and Andrade go so many times for those titles. If they lose here now, it's another situation where it's a complete waste of time. But I don't see it being a good booking decision to take those titles off of the Street Profits. So, I mean, I have to go with the Street Profits in here, but I mean, to cement them coming together once again and not breaking up, despite all the arguments that go on between Andrade and Angel Garza. I mean, I guess this will just be a wasted tag team match. The only way for it not to be wasted is if Andrade and Angel Garza win. But I mean, both teams will totally put on a great, fantastic match. But I want there to be meaning behind it. Do you know what I mean?
I do, and this whole the whole division in both SmackDown and Raw. You look at the match that we're looking at, and then you go, well, the next pay-per-view, who's going to be the next challenger? And it's basically rinse and repeat. Ironically, when you were listing out your list of tag teams, it's very ironic. You forgot the Forgotten Sons. I mean, how could you forget them?
They've been off TV for a while, but supposedly they are rumored to come back.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously other issues why they're off TV, but
yeah,
it's strange. We've got 3 tag team belts in WWE main roster. All 3 of them do not have divisions to support their existence in a weird way, which is ironic that we've got a Clash of Champions that on paper should hold their championships up on a pedestal and show how prestigious they are. But already we've said first match on the pre-show, it's kind of a nothing match. These 2 tag team matches are both nothing matches. I wonder what the next match might be.
Well, so are we both going Street Profits for this?
Yeah, definitely Street Profits.
All right, well, the next tag team championship is the women's, and like we kind of just briefly touched on it. It's Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler, which I would never have seen coming. 2020 continues to surprise me. Versus the Riot Squad, which are about back together. Now, personally, I liked when they broke up. Sarah Logan's no longer in WWE anymore. Liv Morgan was starting to become kind of her own character. At one point, there was some backstage stuff where I really thought they were going to use her well, and Ruby Riott as well. But now they've just come back together like there's no problem. Which, I mean, I know they need tag teams, but why would you split up the Iconics and then put the Riot Squad back together? Because the Iconics are, again, the most legit tag team in the women's division. They're so good. They're so in sync, and they can annoy you as heels. They can make you feel for them as faces. They can both wrestle pretty decent. Their chemistry is amazing. And I'm not taking anything away from the chemistry between Ruby and Morgan. They definitely together well. But kind of how they came back together was very odd. Like, I know things have changed around the Performance Center and around the new Thunderdome area with what Ruby Riott was talking about a couple months ago with how things have changed. But it's very strange to have them go up against the tag team championships right now. And I can't see them winning. I mean, unless Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler implode, but are you really going to take the titles off of them the second they get them away from Sasha Banks and Bayley? So that's the questions that I have in my head right now. But, I mean, for the record, I want Andrade to go on a solo run. I want Angel Garza to go on a solo run. I want Nia Jax, as problems that she's had in the past, I want her to go on a good solo run. I want Shayna Baszler to go on a good solo run. And I want Shinsuke Nakamura to go on a solo run. I want Cesaro to capture that mid-card title, right? So, like, I want all these people who are current or hold all the tag team gold right now. Apologies about that. All are people that I really want to be solo right now. They're not actual teams. But in this case scenario, I do have to pick Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler.
I echo your sentiments. The individuals in these teams are talented and deserve to have an opportunity to show themselves at their best. Shayna Baszler is in a tag team. What is going on? It just, Shayna Baszler should be challenging Asuka for that championship. The Raw Championship. That is the dream match. Come on, you've got all the pieces, but you, for some reason, do not push Shayna Baszler. Or we push Shayna Baszler for a bit, and then we just drop her again. Shayna Baszler is one of my favorite female wrestlers. I have to say that because I'm scared of her. But that NXT run, when she was in NXT, she lost that championship and then she destroyed Kairi Sane and then got it back and was untouchable. And then Rhea Ripley had to work up and wrestle the best match of her career to get that championship off Shayna Baszler, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Shayna, 2020 for Shayna. I just hope she's enjoying fixing up her cars, because what she's doing at work at the moment, if I was her, I'd be very frustrated with what is being given to me. Nia Jax, I've honestly, so long as everything goes right in the Nia Jax match, that's a success for me. I don't rate her very highly. Liv Morgan, again, that push that she seemed to be going on, the singles push, is a long forgotten memory. And it's sad to see that. And we just have this match that exists because we've got some belts that we don't really know what to do with. So we just throw some people in it. And the most logical people that could have been in this title match, we split up. So, yeah, honestly, Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax probably win this. But again, it's a sad state of affairs that this type of match is kind of happening. We could have a women's tag team division. There's plenty of talented women in WWE, but this is what we've got, which, as we've said, the tag divisions are running on bare bones somehow. And how that's possible, I do not know.
Well, they have one way that they can restore those women's tag team championships, and I'm not trying to take anything away from the people on the main roster, but the women's division down in NXT, and because those belts are able to be defended on all three brands, honestly, just send the women's tag team championships down to NXT for a few months. Let a few people down there get them. I don't think that's even happened yet. So like Bayley and Sasha have gone down with them, and I think the Iconics may have gone down to NXT too just to defend them. But put them on two really good NXT stars down there who have history in the stories for being a tag team. Come up with a few other tag teams, have a tournament down there that would boost the morale of NXT. Like have a tournament in NXT with a bunch, maybe like let's say 4 teams. Put some people together and have it down there for a bit to showcase NXT more. Because right now, in September 2020, I don't think we need those women's tag team championships on the main brand. I do think they could disappear for 3 or 4 months down in NXT and then come back up. Someone could come back down. Someone up in the main shows could be like, hey, you know what? I think we should go down to NXT and get those tag titles, or we're going to make a special appearance and then challenge for them and make them relevant again. Bring them back to the main event after you have a tournament and after you build up some stars in NXT. That way everybody wins.
I don't disagree with that at all. The women's division in NXT is absolutely stacked with talent, and the more women's matches in NXT we get to see, the better. They're very capable of pulling off some great tag team matches in that division. So yeah, I do not disagree with you. And then you could maybe showcase that talent a bit more on the pay-per-views for the main roster. That might be a way of having it as well, and you get the talent being showcased.
Yeah.
But we're just two guys chatting.
We don't know what we're talking about.
We have no idea what we're talking about at all. So. Apologies, dear listener, if you wanted insight, but no, you're not going to get insight here. What are you doing?
Well, moving on to the singles match for the United States Championship between Bobby Lashley and Apollo Crews. Honestly, I just want this to be clean and sweet. There are a bunch of other people who have been around in the same feud now for the last 2, 3, 4 months. We've had the Hurt Business, and now they have Cedric Alexander And, with Apollo and Ricochet, there's been some things going on there with that as well. And don't get me wrong, Cedric Alexander, Ricochet, wrestling back and forth, great. I love them. I would just wish they would let Ricochet literally fly. Like the Ricochet that I saw in NXT, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for him to come up to the main shows. And I was like, there's no way they could ruin Ricochet. Wow. They certainly surprised me. So, like, especially with the, I could be that one that beats Brock Lesnar, becomes the WWE champion, gets freaking destroyed in Saudi Arabia. So I mean, I don't even know why they did that. And then ever since then, he's been on Main Event and a couple of other things. But getting back to Apollo Crews and Bobby Lashley, these mix of people, though, these 6, 7, 8 people have been in the same feud every single week on Raw, which has been kind of exhausting. So honestly, I just want Bobby Lashley to retain the United States Championship, and then if they can move on from this, like, I know there's some stuff there with Cedric Alexander and Ricochet, but if they could just move on, and then Bobby Lashley can get a new contender, somebody fresh, somebody different to elevate that U.S. title, I'm all for that.
Yeah, the quick answer is Bobby Lashley. The long answer is that Teabag and Flop
flip flop.
Honestly, and Macy Lace get involved. Yeah, Bobby Lashley, quick, done. End it, please.
You know what, though? You bringing in those names. Let's just take a quick pause. We got 4 more matches to go through. But tell me, what do you think about Retribution? That debut on Monday, oh my lord, it was painful.
I didn't see it live, obviously, UK, and I heard kind of you've got to check out the names of these new Retribution members, and honestly, I read them and thought, this is a joke. This cannot be real. I still get confused. So one is called, is it T-Bar or T-Bone?
I think it's T-Bar.
T-Bar. No, not flip-flop. I keep saying Flapjack, and it's not. Slapjack. Slapjack and Mace. I mean, I found out what Slapjack means. Apparently, it's not a very nice term, actually. If you go on the Urban Dictionary, you'll find out what it means. It's yeah. I don't think the person that came up with the name knows what it means. But yeah, it's just wow. As I say, Teabag and whatchamacallit and Hoojamaflip will probably appear next week. So
I'm definitely calling him Teabag from now on.
Yeah,
I mean, I really like tea, but I mean, it might be offensive to people who drink tea, but that's beautiful.
Yeah, I've come up with a whole list. Cracker Jack is one I've.
Cracker Jack. There you go.
Probably turn up. Tissue, Andrex Puppy. I don't know. They're dead in the water. They were dead in the water before they even started, and now the problem is they're really talented wrestlers behind those masks. Mercedes Martinez is in there. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's the craziest thing too about this group, and we'll definitely get back to our predictions in a second. But the interesting thing about this group, I really tried to give it a chance. When it first started, when they were coming in and cutting shit up, and every single week the flashing of the lights things was a little lame. But when they were blowing stuff up and smashing the windows, and security was just doing the most terrible job ever, I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. I was going, okay, let's see where this goes. And then, over the last few weeks, people were like, oh yeah, sometimes that's Dominic Dijakovic in there. Oh yeah, sometimes that's Mia Yim. Oh yeah, we start recognizing some people, and they started using different people. But now they actually have some names. And Mia Yim takes off her hood, still bright as blue hair as possible. And she's supposed to be somebody else that we've never seen before. And the greatest thing, and I mean this in the most sarcastic way, Retribution, this group, is mad at WWE employees for employees using their income on expensive suits. So they assault people, they commit vandalism for weeks, they break and enter, they cause all this damage, and then WWE goes, oh, we're going to reward you with contracts now. Here you go. Now we're going to pay you to drive us crazy. And that's just painful in my head. And now they're being paid by the very people that they're against. And now their contracts allow them to do anything to anyone at any given time. Yes. So, I mean, if that's all it takes to get a job in the world, well, geez, I should just go to the freaking store and start bashing things up. Start beating employees up. Oh, yeah, I'll get a contract. Just like only in WWE. And what's even worse about that, of all of this, Dominik Dijakovic and Mia Yim are they were both built very, very well. Like, they didn't capture any championships yet, but Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic, I couldn't wait to see more of him. He's one of the guys that I love to watch wrestle. And Mia Yim, she was booked pretty damn well in NXT. I mean, she didn't get the championship yet, but it was only a matter of time. And now their story is that they're people who were never appreciated and they were let go of and all this stuff. It was like, I literally just saw you down in NXT like a month ago or two, like you were literally just having a match on NXT on TV. But then you come in here and tell everybody like we're just supposed to forget who you are. Like, none of this has made absolutely any sense. I mean, if they can somehow turn around and have Retribution start making sense by next week, fine, I am all for it. But the last 2 months, it hasn't worked. Drop the angle. I don't know where the hacker went. So but this has not worked. I mean, look at the ratings. The ratings popped back up to 2 million when the Thunderdome first had its premiere week, and now we're back down in the 1,600,000. So I don't know what to say more than that about Retribution, but the group is not working for me. I can't undo what I've seen. It's like that. People always make the joke about the Men in Black memory gizmo thing, and I swear WWE, they're gonna have to literally invent that in order for them to do any good, or just make things make sense. It's not difficult. Even on AEW last night, they told everybody that Lance Archer wasn't on because of the pandemic. We're not told that in WWE. People just disappear, and then their names are on milk cartons, and nobody knows what happens to them. And then poof, there they are. They're back on Raw again. So, we need some context. We deserve that as fans. I don't mean to sound entitled, but if we're going to tune into your product, if we're going to tune into any product, we are giving our time to that product. We are filling our entertainment with your entertainment. We are choosing to watch WWE entertainment. All we ask is for things to make sense and give us a little nudge here and there if you're going to do something different. Don't just pretend we don't pay attention. That's all I ask from WWE. That's it. But apparently that's too much, and I'm a very selfish boy. But getting back to our lovely Clash of Champions predictions, we're moving up to the Intercontinental Championship Triple Threat Ladder match. Now, this build has actually been very, very good. I'm very excited for it. Jeff Hardy versus AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn, who is convinced that he's still the champion, which is hilarious. I absolutely love it because they're catering back to him disappearing. What do you think? Who's going to win? How have you enjoyed this build?
See, we lambast WWE for the inability to book titles and angles, and then they do this. Yeah. And you go, hold on, you've got all the pieces, you've put them in the right order, you've got a ladder match for the Intercontinental Championship. For me, those two things go hand in hand. You've got Jeff Hardy. Oh, in a ladder match? Those things go hand in hand. You've got Sami Zayn playing a disenchanted champion who actually has a right to that championship because he didn't actually lose it. It was taken off him. And you've got AJ Styles, who is pompous and believes he's the phenomenal one, wanting that championship back. Hold on a second. Are we in a different company? This all makes sense. It all works. It's a match I would like to see. This one could go any which way, and I wouldn't be angry or disappointed about any of them winning it. Yeah. I am really intrigued by this match. Why the rest of the card can't be like this, I don't know. But yeah, I honestly struggle with this match. Every time I look at the card and every time I look, I come up with a different winner. I don't think Jeff Hardy's leaving as champion. Is my swing. I really want Sami Zayn to win it, but I really enjoyed AJ Styles' run with this belt. I hope Sami Zayn gets it back and tries to join Cesaro and Shinsuke in their Champions Corner, in the Champions Club, and then get shunned for a different reason. That would be quite fun. So, but I'd love to see AJ with the belt again, and then have a legitimate reason to being called the Phenomenal One again. Let's go AJ Styles, because I enjoyed him defending that belt because of what the belt stands for, not because he wanted to defend it so much. I enjoyed that story, and I'd like to see a bit more of it. And I'd like Jeff to maybe move to a different championship as well in the longer term. So, yeah, AJ Styles for me. I've swapped so many times during that conversation there, that ramble, should I say, not a conversation, because it's only involved one person so far. But yeah, AJ Styles. I'm going AJ Styles.
All right. I had a strange, odd, long-term prediction for this. And I'm going to lay it on you. And it's absolutely crazy, and I'm probably wrong. And if anybody's listening to this right now, they're probably thinking, oh my God, it's never going to happen. But hear me out. So, the one person that Jeff Hardy hasn't really been able to beat in WWE is Randy Orton. So, the draft is coming up, I believe, next month or the next month and a half or so. What if Jeff Hardy goes to Raw after he loses this Intercontinental Championship and Randy Orton does become champion? Now, I'm not saying Jeff Hardy's going to become champion, but a feud like that in the making, we've had Randy Orton versus Jeff Hardy for the WWE Championship 10 years ago at the Royal Rumble. And it was a good match. But Jeff Hardy couldn't beat Randy Orton. It was the same year that he became champion, but he didn't become champion until December that year. It was the Royal Rumble 2009, I believe, but when he fought Randy Orton. And it was good. It was really good. And he also lost against him in the Hell in a Cell recently with a whole screwdriver in the ear. So I'm wondering if Jeff Hardy loses this title and goes back into the main title picture, because I honestly think, I don't know whether it's going to be now in 6 months' time, but as long as everything goes right with Jeff Hardy, I truly think he's got one more main title win in him. I don't know if it's the Universal. I don't know if it's the WWE Championship, but I think he's going to have that championship at least one more time. And you need a face going up against Randy Orton. What better face than Jeff Hardy if he goes to Raw? This is a very difficult match for me to predict as well, because every time I look at it, I'm like, oh, well, Sami Zayn could win it. AJ Styles could win it. Jeff Hardy could retain, right? I don't know where they're going from this, but that's my long-term prediction. I said it a week ago to my partner, and I was like, just hear me out. It's a very bold prediction. But with the draft, if Jeff Hardy goes to Raw, he will most likely face Randy Orton for the title if Randy Orton beats Drew McIntyre. There's a lot of ifs on this prediction. And if I somehow in 2 months' time we're having this conversation again and I'm right, I want a cookie. But anyway, for now, with Sami Zayn, the way he's acting, I think it's going to be between, for my prediction to work at all, Jeff Hardy has to lose here. So, and despite him being one of my favorite wrestlers, it's tough. I want to say AJ Styles or Sami Zayn, but yeah, it's tough. You're right.
It's great that this is what it should be like. You know,
exactly.
It should be like this.
Like, there's a case for all three of them. Like, that's the greatest thing. It's a ladder match. Love ladder matches. Jeff Hardy, AJ Styles, Sami Zayn, all three of them can wrestle great.
Oh yeah.
Give them a ladder, and Jesus, like Sami Zayn, AJ Styles especially, they can do crazy things up in there too. So, but you know what? I almost said Sami Zayn. I'm going to say AJ Styles. I'm saying AJ Styles. Sami Zayn is probably going to win, but I am going to go AJ Styles to try and help my bold ass prediction. All right, moving on to the SmackDown Championship. I have another crazy prediction for this one too. And Bayley versus Nikki Cross. Who do you got and why?
See, I was driving home with this, and for some reason it popped into my head that Bayley was facing Nikki Cross, and I thought, wouldn't it be fantastic if Nikki Cross won and Bayley lost, and then it proved to Sasha Banks that Sasha Banks was actually the reason Bayley was champion, and Bayley would then be undermined and in a rut, and then we could have Bayley versus Sasha eventually later on or something. But then I thought, no, we need to have the Bayley Sasha match for the belt. We can't have it just as a feud. That's not the way WWE do things, and that's not really
exactly the way WWE does things. Not logically.
Not logically, but it has to be for the belt. It has to be. So, as much as I would enjoy seeing Nikki with a championship, she just doesn't. I don't know. She just doesn't fit the mold for a women's champion at the moment for some reason. I don't know why. Don't know what it is. There's just something that doesn't seem right. So I'm going to say Bayley reluctantly because I enjoy Nikki Cross. I find it quite fun. And the stuff that she and Alexa did together when they were together was really enjoyable. But no, Bayley for me to win this, and then I don't know where you go next. I don't know if you do Sasha Banks straight away after this. It seems that is the right time to do it. I don't trust them enough to keep going with it. So, yeah, Bayley wins this for me.
All right. Well, for my strange predictions, I'm telling you right now, I don't know how it's going to happen, but in the next 2 to 3 months, Alexa Bliss will be WWE champion. It's going to happen again. It's that time. I can smell it in the air. The goddess is going to get her title back. I don't know how, don't know from who, but it's going to happen. So, Alexa Bliss is going back to her heel character, but in a different way right now because of The Fiend. I don't know fully what's going on there, but I'm liking it. I'm liking the slow build. Now, with Nikki Cross being, I guess, the face, if Alexa Bliss is somehow getting involved in this match. Whether Bayley retains or Nikki Cross wins, somehow it's happening. Now, Sasha Banks did say to Bayley, I'm coming for that SmackDown Women's Championship. So, Sasha versus Bayley, I agree. There has to be a title involved in there. So, if we want to have Sasha go up against Bayley after Nikki Cross loses here, and then Sasha Banks wins, and then with Sasha Banks' track record of losing at every pay-per-view or only holding on to the belt for a month, as normal, Alexa Bliss would take it from Sasha Banks. Or we could have Bayley lose here. Bayley and Sasha Banks just their feud gets so heated that they lose everything. Their friendship implodes to the point where they've lost everything. There's no more belts to fight over. There's no more tag teams. They are so mad at each other. It's just them, no belts, nothing left to lose, and they beat the crap out of each other. I think that sounds like a really cool feud as well without the title. And if Nikki Cross wins, she doesn't have to keep it for very long. It furthers the Nikki Cross-Alexa Bliss feud, and then Alexa Bliss eventually takes it off of Nikki Cross. Because people are always wondering how that friendship is going to implode. So, that's my crazy prediction. So, for my crazy prediction, I need Nikki Cross to win this. It's all part of the plan. I don't think she will. But I'm going to have a bold prediction again, and Nikki Cross will win because Bayley, Sasha Banks will interfere, Alexa Bliss will interfere, something will happen because this is the third time Nikki Cross is going after that title. And if she goes after it for a third time with nothing happening, because she's lost the first 2 times, and she did say Sasha Banks is not there anymore. So I think they should just give it to her, even for a short time. She's not. I can totally understand what you're saying about her not kind of being in that vibe, as a women's champion yet. But I think if they give it to her even for a short time, I think it will fuel the story. So that is my prediction. Nikki Cross, so that my girl, Alexa Bliss, can have the title in the end. This is all, she's just filler. Everybody's filler, but unless they're Alexa Bliss. They've been keeping my title warm. So that's what my crazy prediction is. Now we got 2 more matches. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, honestly, I quite like that idea. It makes a lot of sense. It makes logical booking sense. So obviously,
that's why it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. No, you got straight there, Cody. You knew where I was going. It's not going to happen. You can dream that dream, Cody. But yeah.
What is going to happen, no matter what, is Alexa Bliss will have that title in 2 or 3 months. I guarantee it. And you can tell in 3 months' time, what is it now? October and January, when you and I are predicting the Royal Rumble, you can straight up tell me how wrong I was.
Well, we'll send another cookie. It's going to be an expensive cookie if I send it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it would be. Might be stale too by the time it gets here. Oh my goodness. All right, 2 matches left. The WWE Championship match in an ambulance not in an ambulance. Yeah, they're just fighting inside an ambulance. Yeah, they're inside an ambulance in the back and they're just duking it out. But Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. And with what I've seen online, they've released a new ambulance toy.
Yay.
So I'm wondering, and the side of the ambulance has a massive hole in it. So I think Drew McIntyre or Randy Orton are going at the side of the ambulance. I don't know how, I don't know why, but that's what they're promoting with their new toy, and that's what WWE does. Like the shark cage a while back, remember that?
Yeah,
so
the car that he smashed up as well.
Yeah, exactly. So I think in this case scenario, Randy Orton's going to have to win to feed my crazy Jeff Hardy prediction, which is not, but eventually I think, Jeff Hardy will not win against Randy Orton. Even if this happens, he won't win. Edge is the one that's going to take it off of Randy Orton. And that's why I think Randy Orton will win. That's why I thought Randy Orton would win before, but Drew McIntyre retained. But here we go with Randy Orton again. Now, at the last minute, this could turn into a triple threat as well with Keith Lee, because Keith Lee, I believe, did have the right to have a title shot, but then it got screwed up because of Orton coming in and interrupting the match and stuff. I honestly don't know. But as it stands, it's Drew versus Randy. I'm going for Randy Orton. Who do you got? Why?
Oh, I remember how joyous I was on this podcast when I'd watched the WrestleMania. It was literally 20 minutes, I think, and I was still on the high of Drew McIntyre winning that match. How 6 months have changed me. I honestly do not care.
That's great.
I want this feud to be over with. I don't care. I would love them to fight in the ambulance. Cody, now that is all I want to see. I want them to try and claymore each other and RKO each other. I told you I was tired. In the back of an ambulance, I would love to see that. And then the ambulance just to explode, and then we don't see either of them for a very long time. But on it, I don't know. If I had a coin, I'd flip it, and then that would maybe tell me who I'm going to pick. I'd like the Randy Orton Edge coming back and winning the title off Orton. It makes sense. Do I want to live through Randy Orton having that title for a while? Not particularly. But because then how many times would he become a 14-time champion then, or a 15-time champion? 14-time champion. To be honest, it doesn't hurt Drew all that much losing the title. I think it hurts Drew more keeping that title.
He's done one hell of a job having that title though in a non-audience era.
He's done an amazing job with it, but it's unfortunately anybody that has that title and has to be a babyface with it, just after so long you just get fed up of it, and it's the same over and over. He had a great act, and it would have been amazing to see him with crowds, and unfortunately it's the circumstances he can't control. I'd love to see him with that title in front of some crowds. Let's go Randy. Let's mix it up a bit. Let's see. Oh, no. What have I done? Why have I said Randy? I don't know. You know what? Let's go for it. You might as well. It can't get any worse, surely.
All right, Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Final match on the card, and one of the most intriguing matches I think on the card is the Universal Championship. Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Where did this come from? Where's the Fiend? Where did Braun Strowman's suddenly down Raw Underground? I don't know how he got there. He just decided to go over. But honestly, where has the Fiend been? We were supposed to get a to-be continued episode last week with the new Walrus / Paul Heyman being in the Firefly Funhouse. That never happened. So I don't know what's going to happen with all that in by itself. But for this match, I need Roman Reigns to completely destroy Jey Uso. I mean, give it a good match back and forth for a little bit. But at the end of the match, once Roman Reigns wins, I need him to completely destroy Jey Uso to cement that new heel persona. I hear that we're getting new music. Apparently, he's going to be wrestling with his shirt off now to have that new look. Eventually, I don't know when we're getting the new music, but Roman Reigns has touched upon it. I don't know exactly how true it is, but that is the rumor. So I'm hoping that we get this really badass persona. Nobody messes with Roman Reigns. That's what I want. So Roman Reigns for the victory here. Eventually, the Fiend will come back into this because Roman Reigns and the Fiend have loads of history. So or Bray Wyatt. So there's lots and lots of rich history there. And if Roman Reigns completely destroys his own family, that will cement his heel character more than anything else can.
See, very similar. So Jey Uso has to have a spirited performance, but Roman Reigns needs to leave him on the ground so he cannot get up at the end of this match.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the whole persona. I am enjoying this Roman Reigns character. I remember years ago coming back to wrestling, and Roman Reigns was the big guy being pushed in our faces, and I wanted to like him more, but I didn't quite get the personality, didn't get the character that he was playing. This is the character he should have been playing. He is a badass, and that is all you need to know. He will smash Jey to pieces. Jey will show some spirit, but yeah, and Roman goes ahead. See, one of my opponents for Roman would be Jeff. This is where I would put Jeff.
For sure, yeah.
And he can put in, again, another spirited performance, and again, Roman just beats your favourites. You know what? He leaves Jeff down, and then Jeff can come back. He can be spirited back again. But, yeah, Roman wins this. I'm enjoying this. And so long as we get a match, what I'm scared of is that just Roman spears Jey out of his socks, Superman punches him, spears him, Superman punches him, and that's it. I'd rather see a bit of a match happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, Roman all the way. Roman just leaves Jey as a puddle by the end of this would be quite an image, I think, to leave on.
All right, well, there you go. That is your Clash of Champions Gold Rush predictions. That is 9 matches. Now, just to ask, just to put it out there, a yes or no question. Since every championship is being defended, will the 24/7 championship be defended too? Be it yes or no? Bonus.
Yeah, yes, it has to be, surely.
Sure, exactly. For sure. I mean, every championship, I hope to see the 24/7 championship get defended in all of its terrible new glory.
I hope the Shark wins it. I really do. The Shark, for me, is coming. He's coming for that title.
All right. Well, with that, we'll wrap things up. Thanks to everyone who continues to listen to the podcast. If you want to hear your voice in here, simply send me a PM on any of my social media. James and I will be back next week. Next Thursday, I believe, we are recording another episode. You can also find us at SoundCloud under Lotus Moon Productions, Facebook under Lotus Moon Productions, Twitter under Lotus Moon Prod. That's the one. And you can search us on YouTube under Lotus Moon Productions. And you can also find my lovely co-host on Twitter at LMP_jam. Did I get everything, James?
I believe so. I might have to re-listen to this to make sure, and then I'll correct you next week. I'll come with some notes and just say, oh, by the way, you missed out this and that. But as far as I'm aware, straight away, yeah, we're all good.
All right. Well, this has been LMP Wrestling. Be kind to one another, and we are signing off.